Hey guys, Noah Bestremer here. So today we're going to be finishing We're going to be finishing the Haunted Turnabout in Contempt of Court, or at least I think we will be, because I don't imagine that this case would have a third trial and third investigation day. So let's just get into it. Hey mate, glad I caught you. Detective Snow, what is it? Relax, that ghost hunter will be testifying today. I hope for your sake I haven't had a belting off the chief for nothing. It's slightly amusing how Snow always describes this chief as some sort of monster. He can't be that bad, can he? I have a pretty strong feeling that Mr. Barrows knows something. I'm going ahead with it. That's what I like to hear. Don't forget, he won't be the only witness you'll be cross-examining today. You mean Cedric Mapplethorpe, right? Yep, you'll be having a hard time trying to crack that one, let me tell you. He's adamant about what he says. He's been steady as a rock throughout questioning. And to be honest, I think he's telling the truth. I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed calm while calling the police. What? No, you didn't. Huh? We didn't get a call from the hotel. We knew about the crime from this note, remember? Oh yeah. Mapplethorpe didn't call the police? Oh yeah, you wanted to add the evidence to the court record, right? Since the police have now authorized it, you can use it in court now. Thank you, Detective. Hey, isn't that your client sitting over there? Where? Yeah, if you'll excuse me, Detective. Sure thing. Good luck in there. Miss Ruben, how are you feeling this morning? Mr. Wright, are you sure about this? About what? Well, I shot somebody and I took a life. There is no upside to this whole thing. I'm guilty. Miss Ruben, I don't believe you really shot anyone. What? What makes you say that? During the investigation, I found a hole in the floor of the victim's room. It's possible the gunshot actually came from the room below. Really? But then, what did I shoot? I might have an idea, but I want to ask you for a favor. Of course, anything. Would you be alright to testify today? Testify? What do you want me to say? Tell the court exactly what you told me yesterday, about your returning memories. Very well then. Court will commence in 3 minutes. Well, here we go. The last trial. It'll all be over after this, Mr. Ruben. Court is back in session for the trial of Maris Ruben. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Me too. Very good. Now another investigation on the first floor has been... Judge, why have you stopped talking? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Brisbane. Usually at this point you would interrupt me. I must have automatically stopped. Damn. Oh, I apologize for not interrupting you, Your Honor. Perfectly understandable now. Where were we? Oh, yes. Another investigation on the first floor has been... Yes, Your Honor, and quite a thorough one at that. The prosecution and the police couldn't find a thing. But word has it that the defense requested a second investigation later that evening, after finding, and I'm quoting Snow here, a bloody truck full of evidence. The prosecution is right, Your Honor. It turns out that the first floor held quite a lot of very strange objects. Really? Well then, where is this evidence? I must admit, Mr. Wright, this is quite a find indeed. How on earth did the prosecution miss all of this? I don't think I've ever seen Brisbane speechless before. It doesn't matter where you found it, Mr. Wrong. What matters is whether or not the evidence means anything. Remember, the first floor of the hotel is in the midst of a huge refurbishment. This could all just be junk lying around from before the renovations. That's probably why we didn't pay any attention to it, Your Honor. I see. I hope that this new evidence discovered by the investigation means something, Mr. Wright. Because if no new facts are presented to the court... Understood. That sounded stupid. My bad, y'all. Now then, how shall we begin today's proceedings? We have another witness from the hotel we need testimony from. Actually, Your Honor, there are 2 other people I'd like to hear testimony from, too. What? You have your own witness, let alone 2? 3 witnesses in total will be hearing today? Very well. Mr. Wright, why don't you start us off by calling in your first witness? Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to call the defendant, Maris Ruben, to the stand first. The defendant? She has yet to elaborate on her actions on the night of the crime. Indeed so. The court calls the defendant to the stand. Shit, I forgot to start my timer. Your name and occupation, please?
My name is Maris Ruben, and I'm the maid at the Maplethorpe Hotel.
I'm not asking much from you, Miss Ruben. I'd like you to testify about your actions on the night of the crime.
Okay, I can do that.
Mr. Wrong, what are you hoping to achieve from this? Does the defendant really need to explain her actions when the evidence says it all? You can't say that for sure yet. We need to know exactly what she did that night. I agree with the defense. Maris Ruben, was it? A lovely name. Would you care to tell us what happened that night in the victim's room?
Yes, Your Honor, of course. It was just before 1 in the morning. Mr. Niff of room 206 ordered a cup of coffee. I cut my hand on the stairs on the way up. After putting on gloves to hide it, I continued. I brought it in and laid the tray on the table. Then suddenly, he turned on me. Just to try and frighten him off, I picked up the gun and backed towards the door. I was nearly there when I heard a really loud bang. And then I saw the ghost by the window. And that's what happened. Honestly.
My, I stand corrected. It looks like a confession was just what the prosecution needed. Are you sure you wish to cross-examine your client, Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. I feel that Miss Ruben's story needs analyzing properly. I'll never understand you defense attorneys. You'll trust anyone, even the guilty. I'd like to begin the cross-examination, Your Honor. Very well, begin, Mr. Wright. What the hell happened to my health? Was there a Psyche Lock segment last time that I missed? What happened? Okay, well, I guess I'm just going to be working with, like, 0 health. That's cool, I guess. What sort of coffee did the victim order?
It was an espresso, I'm fairly certain.
It just seems odd that the victim would order a highly stimulating drink at 1 a.m. Let alone 2 cups of coffee, as the bellboy testified. Okay, I agree coffee isn't the best choice of beverage for so late at night. But what are you getting at? How is this even relevant? Okay. I don't know yet. Well then, continue the testimony. Did you enter the victim's room still wearing the gloves?
I did, yes. I didn't want him seeing my wound after all. I couldn't bear the thought of even more criticism of my service as a maid.
I see. So you entered the victim's room. Then what? Could you elaborate on what you mean by turning on you?
Well, I walked past him and placed the tray down on the table near the window. When I turned around to leave, he was looking at me with a really dark expression. And he seemed to be looking at my hands.
At your hands? How come?
I don't know. Maybe it was because of my gloves?
Possibly, but I don't see how your gloves were any reason for him to attack you. So what did you do once the victim started to appear threatening?
Did you not think it was strange to see a gun just lying there? No, Mr. Wright, the moment just took me. Mr. Niff was approaching me, and without thinking, I just picked it up.
I knew it, you did pick up the gun. Mr. Brisbane, please let the witness finish.
But I didn't mean to use it.
So you had no intention of actually using the gun, correct?
Yes, I just wanted to scare him off while I made my escape. But he kept approaching me. He wouldn't back off. I was afraid that he saw through my bluff, just as I was starting to worry about actually firing.
Do you know where the sound came from?
No, it was so loud it seemed to come from all around. And I think it came from the gun I fired.
You hear that, Judge? She admitted she fired the gun. Surely this can't be open for further discussion. Miss Ruben, are you admitting to the murder?
Yes, no. No, Your Honor.
We have to accept your first answer. Calm down, Mr. Brisbane. Miss Ruben, these are grave charges against you.
Wait a moment, please. I think I remember something about when I fired the gun. That noise, the loud noise I heard, I think I heard it slightly before I pulled the trigger.
Slightly before? Are you sure? Rubbish. She's just trying to screw up the facts. Maris claims to have heard the loud... The loud... Fuck. Maris claims to have heard the loud noise slightly before she fired the gun. If she's telling the truth, I'm willing to bet that I know what she's talking about. Your Honor, the defense would like Miss Ruben to add this information to her testimony. The fact that the defendant fired the gun doesn't seem to put her in a good light. But if you can prove that the sound she heard did happen before she pulled the trigger... Very well. Miss Ruben, would you mind elaborating on your point?
Yes, of course, Your Honor.
Could have been my imagination, but I think I heard the noise slightly before pulling the trigger. What evidence do I have? Oh, Jesus Christ, there's so much stuff. I'm just gonna press it first. Slightly before?
It seems strange thinking about it, but that's how the memory seems to be to me. Actually, I remember jumping in shock from the sound, and as a result I must have accidentally fired.
Still doesn't change the fact that you shot the victim, does it? I wish Brisbane would give her a break. He doesn't care about her feelings, he just wants to see her get a guilty verdict. This is everything Maris told me yesterday. Time to start analyzing it and comparing it with the evidence. Anything that seems vague may need pressing, too. Are you sure it was the silhouette of the ghost?
Of course. He wore a long coat and hat, just as Cedric always told me.
A long coat and hat, huh? Fuck. Shit. Okay, so you need to get to the ghost line. I'm gonna save here. And then I'm gonna present the coat. What? That's bullshit. How is that not? Okay, whatever. I don't know how that's not correct, but okay. Okay, game. Do I bring up the bullet hole yet? I guess I do. Miss Ruben, I think I have an explanation for why the sound wasn't in sync with your shooting. Simply put, it wasn't your gun that made the noise.
That's what I thought. You mean you have proof?
Yes, I do. The noise wasn't caused by the firing of your gun. This is what caused the noise. What is that, Mr. Wright? Something else the police missed the first time. A bullet hole in the floor of the victim's room. What? The police missed a huge hole like that? It was hidden underneath the body tape. Whoever laid it there must have missed it. But how? Who? What? I demand that officer to be fired right now! Order, order, order! That means you too, Mr. Brisbane. So, the sheer stupidity of the officer aside, you think that hole was caused by another gun? How can you be so sure? What do you... What? Maybe the metal ball? Was it a musket that was fired? Well, first of all, I was gonna save. I would say probably metal ball, right? What's that supposed to be? What do you mean? This proves without a shadow of a doubt. Fuck. Shit. Never mind. That's not it.
It's the fucking autopsy report? Okay. Alright. I had to do 2 sides for that one because oh my god. If we take a look at the autopsy report, you'll notice that it says the bullet entered the victim's head on a vertical trajectory, and the hole in the floor is strong proof of that fact. Therefore, I conclude that the gunshot came from the room below.
That would most certainly seem to be the case. A hole in the floor, a vertically traveling bullet.
I object, and you will sustain it, Judge, because I ask you, Mr. Wrong, where is the gun that caused the hole? Forgotten about this? That pistol? You mean it's still operational? Yes. Ugh. On top of which, this very pistol was missing from the wall shield on the night of the crime. It was in place again in the next day, albeit without the thick dust on the rest of the shield. And it was a loud booming noise, which clearly couldn't have been this gun. Therefore, proving this weapon to have been fired that night from below the victim's room. I am stumbling on my words. No way!
Order in the court. The defense appears to be onto something with this old pistol. The main question now is who fired it.
Did Snow mention any fingerprints? No, I don't believe he did. What? That pathetic lump is even more useless than I thought. Judge, will you let the police examine this pistol for fingerprints?
I'd have thought that the detective would have at least examined it for fingerprints.
This is Detective Snow we're talking about.
Bailiff, please take this pistol to the police station for a fingerprint examination post-haste.
In the meantime, I'd like to call my witness now. Cedric Mapplethorpe.
Already? We should ask Mr. Wright if he is...
Fine, Mr. Wright. Are you finished with your witness now?
I don't think there's anything else to ask yet. Miss Ruben, thank you for your reflections. You may step down now. Witness, you look like you want to say something.
No, it's nothing, Your Honor. Thank you, Mr. Wright.
Very well. The court summons the next witness to the stand.
Hey, buddy. State your name and occupation for the court, if you please.
Cedric Mapplethorpe, proprietor of the Mapplethorpe Hotel. Ah, so you're the owner. Nice to meet you, Mr. Mapplethorpe.
The witness is quite close to the defendant, am I right?
Indeed, Maris is my closest friend, but I must admit that I am shocked. I know she's sensitive to criticism, and Lord knows she's suffered from bouts of depression, but never would I have thought she would actually murder someone.
What? You were saying she didn't do it. What the... So you're saying that you think she did it?
It's so hard to believe, too.
What? That's not what you were saying yesterday.
Mr. Mapplethorpe, would you care to give testimony?
Of course not. It will be my pleasure. This should be interesting. What would Mapplethorpe know about the crime?
It was 1 a.m., so naturally I was sleeping in my room on the ground floor. When I heard the gunshot, I headed for the source of the commotion. Not more than a minute later, a detective came and arrested Maris. I find this very hard to believe. Maris usually wouldn't harm a fly. So the gunshot woke you up and you headed straight for the second floor?
Yes, for you see, the guests were awoken too, and were causing quite an uproar.
I see. Mr. Wright, you may begin the cross-examination.
Alright. So, let's press some stuff. The room is on the ground floor?
Indeed, as is Maris's and the bellboys.
So how did you manage to get to the second floor?
I took the elevator, of course.
The elevator? The bellboy said the elevator wasn't working at that moment in time.
Oh, well, I assure you it did. That's how I got to the second floor.
So the elevator conveniently worked again when Mr. Mapplethorpe used it. How very strange. How long did it take you to reach the scene of the crime?
About 2 to 3 minutes.
2 to 3 minutes sounds like quite a long time. He was woken up. Obviously, he was groggy.
Yes, I haven't been sleeping well as of late.
Alright. So what happened when you reached the crime scene? What else do you remember?
Well, I distinctly remember you there, Mr. Wright. I also remember the black gloves Miss Maris was wearing. Just as I was starting to actually suspect her, a detective burst into the room.
This would be the same detective who brought the defendant to the station?
How would I know, Mr. Brisbane?
Terry Grayson.
But...
How would you describe Miss Ruben, Mr. Mapplethorpe?
An angel, Mr. Wright, in every sense of the word. She's too hard on herself, though. She was so easily put down by guest critique in the past.
Forgive me for interrupting, Mr. Mapplethorpe, but could you stick to the facts?
Of course.
Mapplethorpe kept saying that Maris wouldn't hurt a fly yesterday. So why is he now saying the exact opposite? Something's not right. Something else seems off about his testimony. I'm sure he's missed out on I'm sure he's missed out a certain piece of information.
Okay, that's correct.
Yep. Maybe I present the coat with the bullet hole? First I'm gonna save, because I know, like, this game is giving me some difficulty. Okay. This would go against the case, but there's a bullet hole there, so... Never mind, that's not it. Okay. Yeah. I really should have thought about it a little bit more, but it's because he didn't mention the fact that she screamed. That is my bad. That's not the game's fault. I should have remembered that. I'm being stupid. Mr. Mapplethorpe, you said that you were woken by the sound of a gunshot? That's right. What's wrong with that? Oh no, there's nothing wrong with that. What I do have a problem with is this. Why didn't you mention the scream? Scream? What scream? You didn't hear Miss Ruben scream? She was certainly loud enough. Miss Ruben screamed just after the gunshot rang out. The bellboy heard it too as he was in the second floor corridor when it happened. Your Honor, don't you find that quite strange?
Actually, I do. Witness, why don't you remember hearing the scream?
Oh, I did. I heard the scream. Must have forgotten. Now I know he's lying. He may have been slightly confused having just woken up, so he must have heard only the gunshot. I was woken up by the noise too, and I heard both the gunshot and the scream. Ask any other guest, they'll say the same thing. Well, there couldn't have been a scream then. You must have been dreaming. Wow. I never thought I'd see Brisbane grasping. But how else could Mapplethorpe have not heard the scream? Well, got an explanation for that. Uh-oh. Can I roast one of this? Well, first, I'm gonna save. If I lose health for that, I'm just gonna say no, I can't. I don't think I can. Fuck. Fuck you. Fuck you, game. Okay. Yes, I can. Somehow. Yes, I can. This should be fun. Mr. Mapplethorpe didn't hear the defendant scream because... Hold on. Earpiece. A wireless earpiece. But it's not an earplug. So, first of all, save. Gonna constantly do this. This is gonna be annoying for viewers, but I'm sorry. It's not exactly an earplug. But with this game's logic, it might as well be an earplug. But I'd say it was drowned out, more likely. It was drowned out.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. Drowned out?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant's scream was drowned out by this. Earpiece. Here, this proves... Yes, it proves that this isn't the right evidence. What the fuck? What the penalty. Yeah, I deserve that one. Okay, it's the gun. I was gonna try that, but I thought, like, I didn't think that we were gonna say that he did it. But I guess we're saying that he did it. Okay. Fuck, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm really not doing good on this case right now. Mr. Mapplethorpe, there's only one explanation I can think of as to why you didn't hear Miss Ruben scream. Hmm? You'd have to be really close to the gun for that to happen. No, you're not. Witness, were you by any chance near the gun during the time of the crime?
Objection.
You idiot! How can you jump to that sort of conclusion so soon?
I must concur with you, Mr. Brisbane. Mr. Wright, are you aware of what you're saying?
I admit it's jumping the gun a little. Okay, a lot. But it's the only lead I have. I have to make sure. I do, Your Honor. There is reason to believe that Mr. Mapplethorpe was present at the crime.
What are you insinuating?
You may have sustained temporary deafness after firing the gun. That's why you couldn't hear the scream afterwards.
Objection.
You've got a lot of explaining and proving to do, Your Honor.
Bailiff, we are in the middle of proceedings.
I apologize for the interruption, Your Honor, but I have the fingerprint results from the pistol.
Already? That was quick.
And what are the results? One pair of fingerprints were found all over the pistol.
And are they the witnesses?
No, Your Honor. Heh.
Well, whose are they?
They belong to a Mr. Vic Barrows, sir.
Vic Barrows? Mr. Wright, do you know this Mr. Barrows?
Yes, Your Honor, he's a guest at the hotel, and my next witness.
Order! Order, I say! Bailiff, thank you for bringing us these results. Mr. Wright, we will have a 15-minute recess now. Once proceedings resume, you will summon this Mr. Barrows to the stand.
And we're going to do that next time. So, this episode has been rough. I apologize. I'm usually not this stupid, but I don't know. I guess I'm just tired right now. But see you next episode.